My name is Kezzie and welcome to the Team Kezzie videocast, brought to you by K Ranch, where we teach horse owners how to care for and train their own horses and follow their equestrian dreams.
Today we're interviewing Ashley Inniss of Inniss Equine. We're going to share a little bit about her story and her program and what she stands for and is all about. I hope it inspires you and gives you some motivation to follow your dreams and challenges just like she has. So welcome, Ashley.
Thank you.
I'll start with two quotes that I got from a previous discussion that I feel like represent you very well. Do the best you know how to do and learn along the way. That's what Inniss Equine, in my experience, is all about, as well as everyone starts somewhere. So
Absolutely.
Tell me a quick summary of your equestrian and horse story.
So a little bit about myself and my background with horses is both of my parents are really avid equestrians. So naturally, I grew up very exposed to the lifestyle, learning how to ride from a very young age. It was always just, a really fun hobby. Growing up, I grew up in a really small community where we didn't have, stores and stuff to go to. I lived 45 minutes from town each way. So riding horses was a big part of my life. So I grew up a lot, trail riding, beach rides, just having fun, really enjoying the hobby, during the summer months, because, we couldn't really ride during the winter because it rained. We were really limited growing up to riding and stuff like that. But moving forward in my life with horses, I started to kind of try new things and different things. I really like to push myself and challenge myself and getting myself out of my comfort zone. And, there's just so many different ways and varieties to love horses and be passionate with them. So I started getting into performance riding. Probably I did that for like about 7 years, I think, and got into the show circuit with my mom, and then my daughter. She was doing lead line shows when she was like 15 months old.
And that was all as an adult that you got started, or was it?
Yeah, I think I was like 24, 25-ish when I started really learning how to get into the performance aspect. It really taught me a lot. I always think like when you introduce yourself into different things, you think things, and then you try different things, and then you're like, oh, it really teaches you. So, and that's what I loved about it. So my early adulthood, I got more into the performance riding portion of it. And it was really challenging. It's those girls, kudos to them. I mean, like they make it look easy. So, you jump on and you're like, you can do these things. And it taught me a lot, and it gave me more of a drive to go do, more things and try new other things. And then, so I did the performance riding for probably, I think around like 7 years. And then I adopted my Mustang about 3 years ago from the Teens in Oregon Mustang Challenge in Albany in 2017. And going forward with him, that really opened me up to another whole world of horse learning. And through adopting my Mustang, I've really found, I believe, is my passion. This is what I really love doing, is groundwork and building that foundation and building a relationship with your horse. Because I've always been really lucky to ride really amazing horses that you jump on and you learn off of. But my experience is I am now learning with my horse, and we're learning together. And that's been incredible. And that's really sparked a huge passion for me is the last couple of years doing this. I, eat, breathe, and sleep, different ideas and different, training methods. And I'm always researching and, can we do this? Or, can we build up to this? My ultimate goal is to get my horse to lay down, which some people think it's silly, but for my horse to have that much trust in me to go down
for sure.
It's ultimate. I mean, I've taught him how to bow and how to back up and, without pressure on the lead, and side pass to me, verbally cues, we're working on and stuff like that. But my silly little goal is learning to get him to lay down, because I think that would be like the ultimate, trust between him and I, if I could get him to do that.
Yeah, I want to go back, I think, to the comment about learning along with your horse, and that kind of changed everything in your experience and pushed you to know what you didn't know kind of idea. Because I think there's a taboo a little bit about green on green. You've heard that a million times, and it's like seen as this horrible experience. And to be honest, I mean, that's most people's reality, because they buy horses and they don't know what their horse doesn't know. And so it's this taboo of like, don't say that you have a green horse and you don't know what you're doing, because then you're doing it wrong, you're screwing your horse up, you're causing problems, you're being dangerous, all of these things. But in honesty, and I think this goes back to what the quotes I shared to start, and what I have seen in you, is trying to almost change that taboo. Of course, there's dangerous situations, and there's some horses that shouldn't be with some riders. There's, there's extremes, there's extremes to everything. But in reality, learning to be a horseman, you kind of need that horse to push you, that's going to push you outside of what you know. And you're going to have to experience teaching them on your own. So do you kind of elaborate, like, what are your thoughts kind of on that? Or is that spot on to kind of what you're about?
Yeah. So a lot of the reason why I created my business about a year ago, we're coming up on a year next month. Like you said, there's a lot of like taboo against green horse, green rider. And I think when people hear or say, because I had a lot of people approach me, well, I love horses. My kids love horses. They want to learn how to ride. Where do I go? How do I get started? What kind of a horse do I get? And all this stuff. And, I'm always one where I will say, I only know what I know because I've grown up around horses. I know a lot about what I know, and there's a lot that I don't know and that I'm always learning, but I pull from people to help guide me and direct me, because I'm not scared to ask questions. If I don't know, it's dangerous to me and it's dangerous to the horse and to other people to just pretend. So I like to keep myself informed. So me being where I'm at, I'm always looking for guidance, and I'm always pulling from people or watching videos or asking questions, and what's the best way to do this, and how should we go about that? Should I start, where do I start to teach this or build up to this? And it sparked in me, other people in my community need this. And I did a 4-H group in 2017, and that was really my main starting point, was being able to help the 4-H girls learn showmanship patterns and to teach them the tools and the tricks that they could use to better themselves as horsemen and women. And then, people approaching me in my community asking, can my kid take riding lessons from you? And, helping them along their journey. I was like, this is something that I could do, and I could put a new face to. It's okay to not know. And I won't judge you for it. I want to help you, because I think people not knowing how to get started is like shameful, and it's embarrassing for some people. And, if you have a passion for it and you really want to do it, I want to help encourage those people to do it and to learn along the way. And, just like I'm doing with my Mustang, and it is an okay thing. And, you just want it. My big thing, my business is safety. And I want to teach people how to safely care for a horse, how to be safe on a horse, give them those tools to be successful. How to hold your reins properly, how to use your seat when you ride. A lot of people think you ride, with the reins and you pull and it's like, I can now teach these people, who don't know, who are green. I can give them the tools that they can later use out of their their tool belt when they're on their own, if something was to happen. And that's a lot of the reason why I created what I'm doing right now, because I want to be able to inspire and motivate and, kind of give an insight of, what it's really like to have a horse, because people are like, oh, horses. And I'm like, well, it's 90% work and it's 10% play. And, so my programs run a little different than just having a horse saddled and being able to get on and ride. I teach them how to put a halter on correctly and how to lead the horse correctly and be safe. And, the types of brushes that we use for the different seasons and, how to brush with the grain of the hair and just, we build up and then putting the saddle on and how to safely do it. And, just all the steps that go to it. Because I don't want somebody to feel like if they want to kind of, get into this type of lifestyle that we share, that they're not worthy or that they can't, do it. Cause it is fun and it is enjoyable. And, this is a passion for me. It was once a hobby, but, the more I got to dig into it from being guided and from people, being able to help me through my journey, it's really, inspired me to get out of my comfort zone and go bigger and try to go better. So I really, starting my business, wanted to give that back to people and, make them, it's okay to not know and it's okay to ask for help. It's not anything that, it's okay not to be perfect because, I make mistakes constantly, but I like to laugh at myself and I like to, I like to record myself working with my horse. That way I can later go back and be like, oh my gosh, why did, he did it, quit, bugging him and be able to reflect. But at the same time, there's such a stigmatism or whatever about, you have to know and you have to be perfect. And you almost feel like ashamed or embarrassed if, you're not, your horse's head's not down all the way, it's
Yeah, I see videos and I often comment a lot on people's posts about they start with an apology. So I'm sorry that my equitation sucks. I'm sorry that my legs aren't back. I'm sorry that my horse is, and an excuse instead of just sharing that this was a big moment for them. And that's what I've seen as super unique to what you're doing is instead of just focusing on trying to be the expert and be seen as the person who knows everything, it's like, no, every question isn't stupid. It's okay to think, because that's the other thing is you get the questions and then the comments on it are like, oh my gosh, how could you own a horse and possibly think that? Like, where were you coming from? You're going to kill your horse. It's just so blown out of proportion. And I think that's what I've seen you bring the most of is no, you're not saying like, I'm the world-class quarter horse trainer that's going to take you to worlds. You're saying, like, let's learn together and really work on that stigma of any question. There's no stupid question as long as you're willing to listen and learn. And we're allowed to have different opinions and we're allowed to do things different ways. And
absolutely. Yeah, because I've been on the backlash of it and it's not a fun place to be. And, it's really, when you have such a passion for it, it's really hard to hear that you're not good enough, that you're doing it wrong. And I like a challenge. So what motivates me the most, and if I could tell anybody, watch me.
Yeah.
You know, don't go ahead and tell me I can't do it, but watch me. You know, you really can't let one person, you really cannot let those opinions deter you. And I've had really good outlets of people that I can turn to and, say in those moments of doubt, because again, I am learning. I'm always learning. I'll always be learning. I'll never not stop trying to better myself as an equestrian. I'm always trying to pull information from everywhere and, listen to people and their advices and their comments. But in the end, I have to do what I feel is best for me and my horse. And, it's worked well for us so far. I'm out having fun. I'm doing my thing. I have a good core group of people that I can, come to in moments of like, is this correct? Or is this what I should be doing? And, I feel like this is working well. Oh yeah, nope, you're doing good. Okay. I just need to hear that, because I am by myself right now. And, it's hard when you don't know to have those holes, in your training and try to figure it out along the way. But,
I think that probably, I don't know. I mean, I can't throw numbers out, but I'd say the majority of people who do horses are, you mentioned by yourself, you feel by yourself. But to be honest, I think that we've kind of gone off some of the questions already, but that world of judgment and fear and people telling you that you're harming your horse and creating these fears, that most people aren't with trainers full time. Like in reality, of all the horse owners in the entire world, most of them are not with trainers full time. And so they feel alone. Like I've felt that, we can list a lot of people, probably even people that have been with trainers at some point felt alone in the journey. And so what would your suggestion, and you've answered this a little bit already. So with that world of judgment and people instilling fear and that feeling of alone, really isolating you, what would your tip be, since you have kind of found a way for yourself to overcome that and keep working at that challenge and focusing on that? What would you suggest people do when they do feel isolated, alone, and kind of feel that judgment kind of crushing over the top of them and stopping them from moving forward?
So what's worked well for me is I like to do my research, and I feel like every horse and every handler is so different, and there's different ways of gaining knowledge that work well for you. I don't think, one trainer is going to work well for everybody. I think that you really have to research and you really have to find somebody that you can relate to that makes training your horse really black and white. It's just really easy to understand and you can really follow along with that person. So for me, I found I pretty much go off of like 2 or 3 individuals that I really am like, I understand what they're asking of me. I understand what they're telling me. This is really easy for me to follow along with, rather than, somebody saying, this is the person to watch. This is the person to, really learn from and pull from, and then dragging myself through the mud because I'm just not connecting. So me being by myself, it's really important that I did my research and I found people that I can relate to and that I understand how to work better with my horse. So I would
I'll interrupt you real quick to kind of emphasize. I think what a point that you're really bringing up is, I'd say an advanced horsemanship knowledge, like self-awareness, because every trainer is completely different. And everyone at some point along the way has taken from a variety and then figured out what works for them. So you even if you are with a trainer, at some point in your career, if you're going to go off on your own, you have to figure out what works for your body, your brain, and your knowledge, because everything has to then come from an understanding, which is why starting from your own. So learning with your horse is going to help you figure that out, because you're not just learning the buttons, you're learning how to teach and understanding the why behind it. And that's why I think different trainers and hearing 3 different people teach something and figuring out what makes sense in your head to then apply on the fly and build your own toolbox, because our brains, I can't think like you can't think like me in the moment, because we're completely different people. And so that goes to I know what one thing that I say resonates well with you, and you're always super supportive, is there's 101 ways to do something right. And it's not that there aren't wrong ways to do it, because there are wrong ways to do things.
Yeah.
But it's okay to make those mistakes and figure out which path is right for you. And so I think that's kind of an advanced thought in some ways, because like you said, people look for like who they can like focus on instead of doing their research, getting a broad range, and then being willing to do trial and error and say, this piece of this person doesn't work for me, this piece works for me, and figuring out their way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And you had mentioned too, being able to have kind of that cheerleader or people that you can connect with as well to get you through. You had mentioned that earlier about just having someone that can validate you when you're in your low moments has been a piece of getting through.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because I think that's a piece too, when you feel isolated and then you don't feel like you can ask questions. So you're scared to ask questions, you're scared to connect, but you do need that person that truly understands horses that says, no, you're fine. Keep going.
Yeah. There's nothing more frustrating than wanting to do this so badly, but not, have all the answers. And then, some people, the stigmatism is, well, I don't know, so I might as well just give up because I have no idea what I'm doing. Where, it's so important to have people back you and support you and be positive towards you and say, it's okay. You didn't get it today, but try tomorrow. Or, I've been trying to teach my horse to lay down since last summer. I've had limited time, between working and having kids, that's okay. Nobody says that you have to, do it in X amount of time. It's having fun and it's learning as you go. And it's no pressure. Just my biggest thing I tell my students is have fun with it. The frustration is what brings you down and makes you feel like you're not good enough. You have to just kind of let that wash over you and just, be able to laugh at yourself and just say, you know what? We didn't get it this time, but we'll try again tomorrow, and always end on a good positive note and, have those positive people in your corner. And that really just drives you to and pushes you to get where you're going.
Figure out how to turn that frustration into the drive to do it again.
Absolutely. Yeah. Or I would have quit a long time ago.
Yeah, I know. But I think that if you don't have that ingrained in you, that piece, if you can't figure out how to learn how to turn frustration into drive, having horses, you'll quit eventually.
You will.
Because there's so many frustrations and so many down moments that if you can't figure out how to have your team around you to support you when you can't support yourself, and when that bad ride happens and you're frustrated all night long because all you want to do is get on and try it again. If you don't have that inside of you, horses will beat you and it won't last.
Yeah.
So kind of one big last question, and we've shared this a little bit. So at K Ranch, a big piece of what I'm trying to do is encourage people to kind of dream the ride and be willing to dream big and chase after that. And so start with that dream and figure out how to make it a reality. So repeat again, because you kind of said it, but what is your current big dream for your horse journey? Because I know you dream big and are willing to admit it and commit to it and go for it.
Yep. So my big dream right now is to be accepted into the Teens in Oregon Mustang Challenge for 2020. I applied back in December, like 2 days after the applications were up for submission. I had two wonderful people write me amazing reviews, which was super humbling. You know, I did not ask these people to write me reviews. I just kind of vaguely put up on my Facebook, you know, I want to push myself. I want to challenge myself. I want to bring my barn kind of to a new outlook and I'm ready to try something new this year. I want to try something big. And so I had two people come forward and volunteer to do it. And when I got to read what they wrote about me, it was super humbling, and it really made me feel like, you know, I'm nervous. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm gonna come. I'm gonna get this Mustang, and I'm gonna be like, oh snap. But I'm excited. I want to, you know, I want to be accepted. I find out next Saturday, and I'm going to push myself, and, you know, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to try to make my barn proud. I'm going to try to make the people that are a part of my barn proud. Everybody's excited to, you know, share the journey with me. You know, I want to show people that just keep going, you know, just stay positive, stay motivated. You know, I've had people tell me that don't do this. But once again, my biggest driving point is people telling me not to do something. You know, you know, just watch me, you know, whether I win, lose, or break even, I'm going to have fun. And when I come out of the challenge in June, or no, I pick it up in June. When I come out of the challenge in September, I'm going to, even if I gain one little piece of knowledge, it is all worth it to me, because I always strive to be better and to learn how to connect with the horses better. And by me learning new tools, I can pass those tools on to other people who need guidance and need help. So if I end up bringing a Mustang home on a trailer that nobody bids on, I'm proud of the fact that I put myself out there. I was willing to push myself, and maybe apply again next year and see if I can do better. But
well, and everyone starts somewhere. Everyone started, not everybody shares where they started. You know, you kind of do it and hide it behind the curtain. And I think that's what I'm most excited to watch, is share your mistakes, because the mistakes aren't talked about. And so we all have to make our own mistakes and feel like we're the only one making mistakes, when in reality, there's mistakes every day. Those videos you see of people having success are a culmination of a million mistakes.
Yeah. And that's really why I like to share my videos, because it is a raw journey. And my goal is just to motivate people to look silly. I mean, who cares? You know, your reins, you know, not your reins drooping. Okay, well, you know what? Now that you know, think about it next time and pull it together a little bit more. You know, I teach riding lessons, and, you know, my kids I teach them in my way, little bits at a time. I start with the very basic, and then we add to that instead of giving them all of it at once, because it is so overwhelming, even for me, and probably for a lot of other people. There's so much to sitting in that saddle that's very overwhelming if you don't start from the beginning. And
if you never challenge yourself, you never realize how much there is to learn, because like you said, you don't know what you don't know until you hit that wall.
You do it. Yeah. Until you know.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. And that's what I love to share, because, you know, I'm always learning, and it is a raw journey. I do share videos of myself looking silly, and I have been criticized for it before several times, but that's okay.
Because we have to do that. Sharing that journey is what's going to change our culture and change the horse community to be accepting and bring everybody up, instead of making everyone feel alone and like they're fighting by themselves.
Yeah, because I don't want to ever have to apologize for anything I do on my Facebook page, because my way of doing horsemanship isn't perfect. I do horsemanship the best way that I know how. And so I'll never apologize for that. It's, you know, this is my journey, and I want other people to pull from me and just to say, look at her, you know, she has no idea what she's doing, and that's okay. You know, like I can do that too. So I do know what I'm, but you know.
Yeah, totally. Where can people find you to kind of follow your journey and hopefully this new Mustang? I know you're finding out next week if it's a for sure thing, but where can people find you to follow your story more?
So I do have a Facebook page. It's called Inniss Equine, and it is INNISS Equine. I am a small, private, very by myself owner operator of it. But I try to post some fun things, some fun quotes, funny memes. I am by myself doing it, so I'm having a lot of fun with it. And if people wanted to follow along and watch my journey, you know, I have my daughter, my 10-year-old daughter is very much involved. You know, she's out there riding, you know, her horse and learning, you know, learning as she goes. And I've got a couple of people in my barn that, you know, we're out having fun. So I try to keep it positive and upbeat for, you know, people that want to follow my journey.
Yeah, like I said, just following it for the inspiration to be willing to dream on their own and chase their dreams, I think is a big piece that is missing in the horse community out in the open is your story. So I hope people go join and follow along, like I said, just for inspiration and to learn and get new ideas from you as well. Thank you so much for doing an interview. Your story is inspiring, and I think a lot of people hearing it can be inspired to keep going and try some more. So I really appreciate it.
If I can help one person, it's all worth it.
Oh, totally. Thank you.